Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's video I thought I would share a few tips on how to help with your energy levels for someone with a disability or a chronic illness. And I'm going to be talking a bit about spoon theory and how that can affect someone, and tips to not drain your spoons so much. So first of all, I'm going to explain a bit about what spoon theory is, and I've touched on this subject a little bit in my autism and how it affects me video that I've done, which I'll link in the description down below. But spoon theory is basically a metaphor using spoons to visualize someone's energy levels. So different tasks and different situations during the day will use up more spoons or less spoons depending on the person. So for example, if you were to go out and socialise with your friends, that might take up 2 or 3 spoons. And then if you come home and you've got to make dinner, that's another spoon. And so you're slowly draining your spoons until you eventually have none left, and you're either burnt out, or you shut down, or you just physically can't do anything anymore, which is quite common for a lot of people, especially with autism. So I'm going to start off by just going through a few things that I personally find really helpful, helping to reduce the amount of spoons I'm using and kind of preserving my energy so that I have more energy for other things. So I've got a list on my phone. I haven't really put these in any sort of order, but the first thing I am going to say is, I mentioned this in my previous video, which was a day in a life with someone with autism and sensory difficulties, which I'll also put in the description down below. And it's something that I saw neurodivergent Lou, I think her name is, on Instagram. She posted about it, and it's having a toothbrush and a toothpaste downstairs, which I cannot express how helpful that has been since I've done that. Because sometimes, you know, my routine is I get up straight away, unless I'm at work in the morning, I have a shower straight away, then come down and have my breakfast, and then obviously brush my teeth. But I tend to go straight out after having my breakfast, depending on my plans. And so sometimes I've had my breakfast and I just like, I don't think I have the energy to go back upstairs. So having something downstairs that's accessible, and it means you're using less energy walking upstairs and down again, and you can do your teeth and then head out the door. So helpful. So if you think you would find things like that helpful, then completely do it. Another thing is just having deodorants accessible in loads of different places. So for example, in the downstairs toilet, I've got one in every bag, so I don't have to keep going around searching for it. That really helps as well. So the next thing I want to talk about is tiredness. Obviously the whole spoon theory is about, you know, your energy levels and how much energy you use on different tasks, and how eventually this can drain you and it gets really tiring. Don't feel bad for having to nap, because I am someone that really struggles with imposter syndrome, and I know a lot of you can relate to that. And I also kind of struggle with putting myself and my needs first and letting myself do things I need to do in order to function. I guess because I kind of think, well, other people aren't doing this, and I feel bad because, you know, I should be able to do all these things. And I kind of forget that actually I do have autism and it's okay not to. And since I've kind of told myself that and let myself accept that, I've been like, okay, I am really tired, you know, I deserve a nap. Having a nap, even for an hour, although sometimes they end up being longer than that, just really helps kind of regain some of that energy so that you actually can focus and concentrate more on other stuff. that you have to do. So don't feel bad for having to nap. And on top of that, just getting a really good night's sleep. I can't function unless I get at least 9.5 hours sleep, which I know is quite a lot for some people, but my sleep is so important to me. And so just getting a good night's sleep, honestly, not going to bed too late will really help you on the next day. So another thing I want to talk about is making food prep and meals so much easier than they need to be, because I, since moving here, have been very sensible where I spend my money. And obviously, like, I know a lot of us with the whole cost of living crisis and everything's just so expensive these days, I know that it can be, you know, difficult to buy easy and accessible things when we're trying to save money. So for example, it's so much cheaper to make fresh meals. Obviously you can batch cook them, put them in the freezer, in the fridge, and have them for other days, but for people with disabilities and illnesses, and when you're low on energy or you've been out all day and you're absolutely knackered, that's not always realistic, and that's not always an option for a lot of people. So microwave meals are literally the best thing ever. Don't feel bad for just eating microwave meals a lot of the time. And I know there's a lot of sort of meal delivery services that you can get. I always get an advert for Wiltshire Farm Foods, which I think it's like for elderly people, and I'm like, I thought the adverts were supposed to be personalised. What are you trying to say here? But a lot of those services can be so helpful. You know, you're not spending an hour prepping food and an hour cooking food every night, because that can be really draining too. And especially when you've been out all day, you don't always want to come back and then think about that. Another thing that also I find really helpful, it's just a little thing, is buying grated cheese and pre-cut frozen vegetables and things like that, for when you do want to make fresh meals. Things are so much easier to just grab it out the fridge, pour it in, and it's done, rather than spending half an hour chopping your vegetables and grating your cheese, because on some days even grating cheese can feel like such an impossible task, and you feel like that just loses a spoon, just grating cheese. So things like that can be really helpful. And like I said, I know that a lot of those can be quite expensive, but at the end of the day, if it's going to help you, then do it. So another thing I also do sometimes, which I find really helpful, is doing food prep on one day. So sometimes when I do feel able to, I will spend a whole morning or a whole afternoon chopping a bunch of vegetables. So in my case it will be carrots, parsnips and onions, my main vegetables at the moment. And I will do roasted carrots and parsnips. I'll fry my onions and separate them all into pots. So I have probably about 4 pots for the week, and then it's done. Oh, and roast potatoes as well, and they're all done. And then every night I can just take a box out the fridge and go, okay, I've got basically the bulk of my meal here, what do I want to put with it? Okay, I'll put 3 sausages in the oven, or okay, I'll cook a piece of fish or a piece of chicken. And then that's literally all you have to do, is put something in the oven, heat up the stuff, and it's all done. And that has been really helpful as well. But like I say, it's a big task to like pre-prep everything. So my plan was to do it every week, but that hasn't really happened. But when you feel up to it, if you can do so much of it in advance, it just takes that pressure away when it comes to the evening. You don't feel able to do a whole meal. Most of it's already done. So something that I and a lot of people with autism struggle with, which my last video was all about, is sensory difficulties. One thing that very much triggers me is loud noises. For example, fireworks. I am dreading this time of year. And loud cars that rev their engine, motorbikes that go past, ambulance sirens, things like that can be really amplified for me compared to a neurotypical person. So wearing really comfy headphones when I go out and listening to my favourite music is a lifesaver. Because although obviously you're aware that you're out and your surroundings, but it kind of takes you away. You feel like you're in a safe place because it's what's comforting to you is the music, in my experience anyway. Whatever helps you, having a fidget toy, wearing earplugs. But I just find my music so helpful. It kind of drowns out the noise around me and just calms me down with, you know, the nice music. And also just wearing comfy clothes and not trying to look nice to impress people or society, because honestly I'm so past that and I never really was like that at all in my life. But wearing comfy clothes is such a necessity, because even sometimes the feel of your clothes can irritate you and that can drain your energy, and just being comfortable is just one less thing to think about. So another thing that I find really helpful is having a schedule, and I have, you can almost call it like a school timetable with each day and the times and kind of what I do, because each week for me sort of looks similar. It's helpful for me to see what I'm doing and when, and I've got it up on my wall, and so I can see where I'm spending my time on, perhaps sometimes where I'm spending my time on too much, and I think, okay, you know, that might be draining me, I could maybe cut back on that, or, oh actually I enjoy doing that but I'm only doing it once a week, maybe I could do that twice a week, and things like that. So I find that really helpful, and you know, it helps me feel calm to know what I'm doing and when I'm doing it, and having that structure and routine is really helpful. And I think it kind of just helps as well, because sometimes it gets a bit overwhelming having to keep this all in your head. So to have it written down just frees up some space in your brain, and again that can reduce your tiredness as well. And along with that, I think you also have to realise, okay, yesterday I was out all day at my cafe, tomorrow I'm going to have a quieter day. Or, oh, I went out last night socialising with my friends, I'm going to do some self-care this morning and stay in because I need to regain some of the spoons that I used up from yesterday. And it's about making that balance where if you use all your spoons on one day, making sure that you give yourself less the next day to kind of balance things out so you're not inevitably going to burn out. Another thing that also I'm trying to get better at is saying no to things. And I know this can be really hard for some people, but actually sometimes you think to yourself, oh well, I'm not doing enough, you know, people can manage all this and I'm not able to do that, but I should be, and so I'm just going to say yes to everything because I feel bad otherwise and guilty for not being able to do as much to other people, and eventually it just leads to burnout and it's not healthy. And you need to put yourself first, and I know that is such a hard thing to do, but at the end of the day you're not going to be able to function and be the best version of you for other people if you're not there for yourself. Is that what I'm trying to say? You're not going to be able to give your best to other people if you're burnt out and you're exhausted all the time. So putting yourself first is so important. One thing that I find quite overwhelming is big daunting tasks. So I'll have a list of tasks I have to do and I'll look at it and think, and I'll put it off because I'll think, oh that's too big, I don't want to start that, or oh that's got I've got to do so many things and it just feels too overwhelming. And I think breaking those tasks down into even smaller tasks. So for example, I might have a list of things I need to clean, and it will be like, okay, I need to clean the bathroom, I need to clean downstairs, I need to clean the kitchen. And it's like, okay, I'll just focus on one thing each day. But then when it comes to it, it's like, but I don't really know what I need to do in the kitchen, and there's so much to do and it's overwhelming me and I just don't get any of it done. So you think, okay, I'll break it down into smaller steps. So, okay, I need to clean the tap and the sinks. That'll be one task. I need to wipe the surfaces down. I need to clean the hob. I need to clean the fridge shelves, for example. And then you just do one task at a time, and that just helps you to not feel so overwhelmed, and in turn you're not as tired because you're not overworking yourself and your brain as well, and you'll have a lot more free mental energy as well as physical energy. Okay, last thing that I want to touch upon from my personal experience is having an organised wardrobe. And I know this sounds really random, you're like, what on earth has this got to do with spoons and energy levels and autism? And trust me, having an organised wardrobe is so helpful. In my wardrobe I've kind of got jumpers in one section, t-shirts underneath, which are also categorised in a special order, and then I've got dresses and then skirts and shorts underneath that, and then underwear and things on the bottom. And honestly, just having it organised means that you can get up in the morning, pick one thing from each section, whichever section you need at the time, and you can go have your shower and get dressed, rather than faffing around trying to find where everything is and getting stressed out because it's all a mess. And that just, if you can keep on top of that, which I will admit is a bit hard at times, but if you can keep on top of that, then that honestly just helps you so much in the morning to be more prepared and be able to get on with your day. And yeah, it's just a lifesaver. So I want to talk about a few things that other people have suggested that I think I would implement some of these into my routine, but I think they might also help you guys. So one thing is talking about the cleaning side of things. And again, I know this isn't always possible for a lot of people, but hiring a cleaner or a housemaid or someone to help you with the tasks that you can't necessarily do, I think that for people that can afford it is such a lifesaver, because you can focus your energy on other things. So for example, if I had a choice, I'd pay someone to come and do my dishes and my washing. That'd be amazing. And then I can actually focus my energy on cleaning other parts of the house, or you know, actually being able to go out and do things and have more energy to focus at my work and cafe and things like that, because I'm not so stressed about things getting overwhelming here. And I also saw this thing online, and it's, I don't know what it's called, but it's like this little electric hoover where you press the button and then it's like a round thing, and then it just goes all around your floor hoovering stuff up, and you don't have to do anything of it. And I think that is such a cool idea, because again, it's one less thing to have to think about, one less task you're using your energy for. And just, if you can get things that are automated and you don't have to think about them, then that's great. Obviously, I know these aren't options for everyone. Another thing that I think can be really helpful for people when you've got low energy days or low spoons, or you're just absolutely exhausted, is using paper plates and paper cutlery. And I never really thought of this until someone mentioned it, but it's actually quite a genius idea, because you can have your meal on a paper plate, a biodegradable plate and then just throw it away afterwards, and you've got no dishes. Well, apart from the saucepan you made your meal in, depending on how you made it. And if you wanted even less of a low spoons meal, then you could put a microwave meal in the microwave and eat it out the pot it comes in, and use a paper fork, and then you literally are throwing everything away, obviously in the recycling. But things like that, and things like that could just, it's about reducing the amount of tasks you have to do, so that will save you a massive task of washing all your dishes up. So another thing I mentioned earlier was about, going outside and having various sensory difficulties, and I know that quite a lot of people can struggle with going into supermarkets and to shops because of all the noise and the lights and different sensory things. So actually getting food delivered to your house is such a great alternative, or even just click and collect if that is an option near you, because it saves you going into the shops and dealing with all that stuff which drains your energy, and it means you don't have to go out and travel, and it all comes to you, and it's so much easier. So these last two things I'm gonna speak about kind of go hand in hand with each other, but the first one is having bins dotted around your house. So for example, I'm on my sofa, there's a bin in the kitchen, but sometimes even moving from the sofa just feels like impossible. It just feels like I have no energy to get up and get off the sofa. And so actually, if you have a snack near you or something and you can't get to a bin somewhere further away, then having a bin right by the sofa, even just a little one, would be so helpful, so that you don't have to get up and go somewhere else. And then obviously every now and then just putting that bin in the main bin. But things like that, like having bin upstairs in your bedroom, having one in each room so that you're always near to a bin. And the other thing that goes with that is having a burnout kit dotted around the house. So this is something I never thought of either, but someone was kind of explaining it, where if you have stuff dotted around your house for times when you are burnt out or absolutely knackered and shut down and you don't feel able to move from where you are. For example, I've had days before where I actually physically can't get myself out of bed, and it's not that I don't want to, of course it's not, but it's that it literally feels impossible and I'm actually unable to do it. Having things right by my bed in case of these times means that, oh, when I am hungry, I have got a snack with me, or I have got a drink, or a toothbrush, or deodorant, and things like that. So you could have one by the side of your bed, you could have one by the side of the sofa, in your living room, wherever you think would be most helpful. And these are kind of some of the things that they suggested putting in it. I think I got this off of an American website, so I tried to kind of create my own version. But you could put water, snacks, obviously snacks that won't go off, so things like cereal bars or chocolate bars, and different things. I don't know what things don't go off because I have like quite a limited range of foods that I eat due to my autism, but different foods that won't go off that you enjoy. Vitamins, if you take vitamins every day, then have those. Again, like any medication that you normally take, having that in your burnout kit is so useful, because even on the days where you can't get up and do things, you still need to take your medication. Having that nearby is really helpful. Toothpaste in a cup, obviously your toothbrush so that you can brush your teeth still. Baby wipes is always helpful, obviously when you've had food, and then you want to clean your hands, dry shampoo and a hairbrush. Sometimes you don't know how long these periods last, and sometimes it can be weeks or months on end, and especially, for example, if you live alone or people are out of work all day, then you've still got to take care of yourself. So having these things on standby right next to you is really important. Nail clippers, deodorant, and also things like juice boxes, things that don't have to go in the fridge necessarily, and just anything else that you want, like perhaps I don't know, chargers, or I don't know, I can't think of anything. But having burnout kits dotted around your house, especially next to your bed, for those days when you can't get out of bed, then that just seems like an amazing idea, and I don't know how I didn't think of it before. But I hope what I've said has given you some ideas, and I hope you found this video useful, because actually doing research for this video I found out some really useful things for myself, and I'm definitely going to try and implement some of them into my routine. And I'd like to know in the comments down below of any other things that you find helpful for when you are having a low spoons day. And yeah, so thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to receive notifications every time I upload a new video, because at the moment I'm really enjoying kind of talking more about my autism and educating other people on what it's like to have autism, and just being able to put out relatable content for other people that may struggle with the same things as me. So I hope you're enjoying this kind of content too. I'm definitely bringing out more music soon. I've got so many original songs that I've written lately that I just again haven't had the spoons to do something with. So you have to be patient with me, but things will be coming. I'm so excited for Christmas, and I'm hoping I'll have some Christmas content for you guys. But until then, I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.